Welcome back to another episode of Singapore's Real Estate Explained, brought to you by the J&E Investments team. And today we have another new launch review to bring to you.
So this new launch is in Kent Ridge, by the name called LyndenWoods, near to the Kent Ridge MRT.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a new area that was developed by CapitaLand after leaving the land plot for quite empty for some time.
Yeah, so let's dive into the numbers to see whether this is something that's worth considering if you're buying for investments this year.
Alright, so let's jump into it. Alright, so before we start, I'd like to thank all our clients who have been supporting us. Currently have reached 169 good reviews, along with 16.7k subscribers. So continue to support us with like, subscribe, and a good review, and we're more than happy to value it to you in terms of real estate investment news.
Or if you're in the real estate market looking for a next investment, or you want to speak to any of us at the investment team, do scan our QR code and we'll have someone reach out to you.
So currently we have so close to 722 investment clients with returns of 19.56%. I thank all our clients that trusted us and more than happy to value to more clients in years to come.
Yep. So let's dive right into analysis for LyndenWoods. It may not have been a development that you hear in the market recently because this is actually not a GLS.
Yeah, it's actually a redevelopment of old DST building by CapitaLand. So there's no GLS that was announced and there's no land bid price. In fact, CapitaLand have been keeping this land plot for some time, almost close to 20 years before developing it. The tenure, they refreshed the list to 2025, this year, 28 April, developing 343 units. A TOP date is about 2029. They're going to do 2 blocks of 24-story and a 2-story basement car park.
Yeah. So like what was mentioned, right, is actually a previous building where they actually applied to URA to make it residential. So it isn't the first time that CapitaLand is doing this. The last time they did it was for Jayden, which was a previous J-Cube. They wrote in, changed the use, and then you had Jayden as a residential development.
Yes, right. So you can see this land plot is the first residential site in this entire area because it used to be a lot of business science parks. There's no residential unless you go very deep in. You have no Momentum Park. And in terms of location-wise, it's actually pretty near NUH. It's about close to 5 to 7 minutes walking distance, depending how fast you walk, to the Kent Ridge MRT station. In fact, in this area, I would say, as mentioned just now, it used to be a lot of science park, business park building. That was already abandoned for some, like your DST building. And that's when they redeveloped this place. They are developing a new, I would say, commercial space.
It's very, very nice if you actually walk past, drive past it.
Yeah, and call it Geneo, where you have your commercial shops right downstairs.
Or your F&B. I think they're like Subway.
Yes.
Or your restaurants.
Correct. So it really gives a new vibe to this place.
So for schools-wise, 1KM, we may have Fairview Methodist Primary School. For now, if you look at the one net, likely Block 69 is within the 1KM. Block 71, now a bit uncertain, but it could be like a Nava Grove where initially it was 1 block and then later on the entire development became 1KM, right? But this is something that is not 100% confirmed yet.
Yes. Alright, and in terms of schools-wise, as mentioned just now, one is within 1 km, the other on average is a 1.8 km. So there's something that within the driving time is about 6 minutes. So besides Fairview Methodist Primary School, we also have Newtown Primary, Fairview Methodist Secondary School, ACJC, ACSI nearby. But the one that I would say stands out is NUS because it's really at the heart of Kent Ridge area.
For site plan wise, I think for this kind of development size, they were able to fit like a tennis court and an additional, I think there's a pickleball court, maybe with a pool. Normally, this is something that you don't find in like a mid-sized development. Maybe for like bigger 500, 600, 700 units, you will see a tennis court inside. So that's a plus point.
Yes. In the unit mix, we have a range of bedrooms from 2-bedroom all the way up to 4-bedroom premium. There's no 1-bedder in this development. 2-bedroom, 630 square feet. Our guess, looking at this layout itself, it's a 2-bed 1 bath, and there's also a 2-bed 2 bath. 2-bedroom plus study, 850 square feet, all the way up to a 4-bedroom premium. Majority of these units, you can see almost 240 plus of them, they are in the 2-bedroom range. So you can see it's a more investment-focused development.
Yeah, and then one thing to note also is that this is not a brand new GLS, right? So this will actually fall pre-area harmonized. I think we're all very familiar with the post-area harmonization with all the launches this year. But do note that for like, let's say 630, this one, it actually includes the aircon latch. So if you're comparing it with like a post-area harmonized project, this technically should be slightly smaller.
I mean a 570 or 560 square feet unit. All right. So next up, price prediction. So for us, we actually benchmark these prices, based on past record of how CapitaLand actually priced the project. So this project, as we mentioned, it's a DST building. They redeveloped it 883 million to develop the entire area. In fact, they will be paying a development charge to convert from a science park into a residential. So then you pay additional fee. And from there, to see how they launch, because there's no land bid price, we will actually compare to a very similar project they launched back then in Jurong area called Jayden. So Jayden, if you break down the numbers and look at the PSF price range, it's on average about 2,429 per square feet.
And this is a OCR project that's next to the MRT.
And if you want to look at how they price, because there's no, like I would say, break-even price per se, LyndenWoods by itself, if you compare to a recent project done in Jurong East area called Jayden. So Jayden by itself, on average, is about 2,429 per square feet. But one thing you note for Jayden, they have very huge floor plate. Very big floor plate.
I think CapitaLand is known for that, right? That's why you will see later on for their 3-beders, they're like 1,200 square feet.
Yep. So although PSF may seem on the lower side, but the quantum may not be what you see. So the key over here, using this, we can sort of prorate what kind of prices science will be sold.
Yeah. So you can see for Jayden, 721 and 710 is actually their 2-bed, 1-bath. It's not even a 2-bed, 2-bath at 1.75 to 1.8. So actually, I would say LyndenWoods 2-bed, 1-bath at 630 is considered smaller as compared to Jayden already.
Yes, and this is a price that be benchmark at because Jayden itself, if you hit a 1.65, 1.7, if they were launched in a better location, like in Kent Ridge City Fringe RCI area, likelihood it could either match its price or be even higher. But that's something that we'll run through about what are the prices we can expect.
So 2-bed plus study, for Jayden side, it was about 2.1 thereabout for mid-floor. Their 3-bed was about 2.6 million at 1,141 square feet.
Yes. And in terms of the 3 million plus study, it's 1,259. You can see it's very huge. It's about 3 million already for the mid-floor unit, 20th floor. And for the 4-bed, it's about 3.59.
Almost 3.6 million.
Okay, so for us, right, we actually play very safe. What we did is we predict a price such that the quantum will be similar to Jayden.
Yeah.
Okay, but in terms of PSF, it will definitely be higher. So we predict it will be likely about 2,650 to 2,750 per square feet. In fact, we have some inside news that it won't be cheap, like the kind of pricing that you see in the recent RCR launches, but one that is, I would say, the price a premium because of the location and how CapitaLand price a project.
Because if you see a nearby neighboring development, let's say Bloomsbury, right, that's not near the MRT, they're going about 2,004, 2,005 per square feet. So for something nearby with the MRT, they would definitely have a premium in terms of the per square feet.
Yes, all right. So next up, let's compare to the resale around LyndenWoods. Okay, in one-off area, there are 3 projects. In fact, 2 recently TOP, one off Eden and Momentum Park, and one more called One North Residence, which is the older project, TOP in 2009.
Yep.
Okay, so the TOP gap for One Off Eden and Momentum Park will be 4 and 6 years. One Off Residence will be 20 years.
So you see for Momentum Park, 6 years difference that's not in the MRT is going for about 2,055 per square feet. One off residences difference of about 20 years. If you compare TOP to TOP is about 1,664. But also because the floor plate is slightly bigger. And One North Eden that recently TOP is going for close to about 2,004 per square feet.
Yes, so take note, we cannot just look at per square feet itself, we also look at quantum. So that's why we compare layout to layout. So first up, let's compare LyndenWoods to Momentum Park. Momentum Park is a big development, 1,840 units, by Kingsford. Recently TOP'd, quite new in the block. And there's a profit. You can see Momentum Park make decent returns. 96 square feet of 500 plus K. The 5-bedder make about 5 to 700 plus K. And the 4-bedder also about 4 to 500 K. So these are actually decent returns.
So interestingly, actually the 3-bedder compact made slightly more than the 4-bedder, even though generally 4-bedders make a bit more. But from here, you can see that the 3-bedder, again, down to per square feet. Because 4-bedders are facing the premium park facing, right? So they paid about 1,008 plus, whereas the 3-bedders only paid about 1,007 plus when they entered.
Yes.
Then of course you have 2 unprofitable transactions, which are the 1-bedders that we are noticing in the market that the demand is really plateauing, or like there is really no demand for 1-bedder. So if you can for investment, try not to enter into 1-bedders. Yeah,
that could also be the reason why LyndenWoods didn't even launch 1-bedder at all based on this kind of performance. Alright, so rationale why they make money, because back then when Momentum was launched, it was actually launched cheaper than the RCR new launch average. Back then it was 2,056 per square feet for new launch. The Momentum Park launched at about 1,776 per square feet. And then quantum-wise, similarly, it was launching about close to 350K below the average of the entire Singapore RCR new launch projects. So that allowed it to have this profit gain. So
for now, we don't have all the layouts for LyndenWoods. So we'll show you what we have, and what we have for the 2-bed is a 2-bed plus study, which is at 850 square feet. So comparing it with Momentum Park at 829 square feet, these two are pretty fair because both are pre-area harmonized projects. It's just that for Momentum Park 1, the study, people say it's a bit better because there is a window. For LyndenWoods, there isn't, so it'll be slightly darker, but at least it's a sizable study that you can actually use.
And next up, let's compare the 3-bedroom plus guest. This layout is pretty interesting. You can see instead of all 3-bedroom being on one side, there's actually one of the 3-bedroom that is tucked actually near to the kitchen. And if you look at this layout, there's potential to even convert to a dual key. If you are keen to find out more, we can discuss on a private basis. 3 bedrooms over here with a guest room. 1,200 square feet.
It's very big. So quantum is very high also.
Yeah, so like in 2006, it will be about 3.1 million. Yeah. As compared to something like Momentum Park, a 3-bedroom premium without a study, with a bigger balcony, you'll get about close to 2.35 million for 1,087 square feet.
So quantum here may be a bit challenging for LyndenWoods. Yes, it's near the MRT, but when you compare the quantum, it's almost like a 800,000-900,000 difference really.
Yeah, correct. And last one is we have the 4 beta. Okay, you can see 1,006 square feet, huge. Okay, there's something that likely cater to buyers who are looking for really own stay. About 4.1 million. Okay, and the bedroom type is also interesting. 4 bedroom, and then one of them facing towards the same side as the balcony.
Yep.
A very huge living area with a private lift.
And a walk-in balcony, walk-in wardrobe also. Sorry, not walk-in balcony, walk-in wardrobe.
Yes, and this is quite iconic for CapitaLand. They love huge floor plate.
Yeah.
Okay, as compared to that, Momentum Park 1313 square feet is about 2.9 million. That's almost close to a $1 million dollar difference.
Yeah.
Okay, and this itself that shows the kind of buyers who buying this must be have a particular taste.
Okay,
Right.
so next example or next development we'll look at is One North Eden. It's a smaller development at 165 units, also recently TOP'd. So you also see for their recent transactions that per square feet ranges from about 2003 plus to about 2004. Profit-wise, they also seen quite healthy profits ranging from 700 plus K for some of the bigger floor units. Their 3 betas made about 400 plus and their 2 betas also made close to about 200 to 300 plus K. And if you were to look at why even a small development, because usually you say, try to avoid small development. Again, back to pricing, if you were to go and look at how much One North Eden launched at that time, they launched it slightly under what the RCR pricing was. So RCR new launch in 2021 was about 2,056. One North Eden launched about 1,009. And then when you look at quantum-wise for 3 beta, RCR was about 2.1 million, 2.08, right? One North Eden was about 2.054. So I think being next to the MRT gave it a plus point despite it being a slightly smaller development.
Yeah. So one more thing to take note is that in this area, there's not many supply for, in fact, the 3 betas. And One North Eden is also within 1K from Fairfield Methodist Primary School.
Yep.
So this actually boosts the demand for this area to push up the prices despite being a small development. All right. And if we compare where we are right now for One North Eden, 2 billion plus study, going about 1.78 million, 764 square feet. Interestingly, you see the study is actually quite decent. It's
With
very
a window.
on one side, with a window.
Almost like a small little guest room actually.
Yeah, it's like a 3 beta even for if you really want to squeeze in the study as a one bedroom.
Yeah.
764 square feet, 1.78 million, very decent layout with a dumbbell layout. Okay, open concept kitchen. Meanwhile, 850 square feet over here is about 2.2. The difference is about close to 500K. Okay, which is a gap. Okay, consider that there is.
It's not very old for One North Eden. Yeah.
And we compare to the 3 bedroom, 3 bar plus guest, which we're going to 4 beta within LyndenWoods, 1,200 square feet. If you measure up to the 4 beta, the closest for One North Eden, 1,259, the gap is about 300K. But once again, the guest room, some debatable whether it's
Yeah, it's like a study or a bedroom.
Yes, correct. Okay, and compared to the 4 beta, 4 bed and compared to the 4 bedroom premium, 4.16 million with 3.3 million is about 800K difference for something that's about 4 years old. Okay, factoring in that it's a small development, I would say it's still a pretty huge gap. So there's something that 4 beta here, some people appreciate it, but investment wise, the gap is actually pretty wide.
Okay, next example we'll look at is actually One North Residences. So this one is a slightly older development of 405 units. If you look at their recent transactions, it ranges from about 1,005 to 1,006 per square feet. Okay, they have a fair share of profitable and unprofitable transactions, mostly profitable, 411 profitable transactions. So I think when you compare One North Residences 2 bed plus study here, you'll see that their size is very big, 1,109 square feet. And why it's so big is because you'll notice that there is bay windows all over the unit also.
Yes, and PSM may seem cheap, 1,005, 1,007, but one thing to note is for
The
One North
quantum.
Resident Quantum, because size is huge, the price is actually high. And even if you minus away the bay window area, this entire layout is still, I would say, less efficient compared to the newer development.
So when we can be assured that, when a 20-year-old development over here, can kind of fetch the quantum of close to 2 million, you know that people has kind of accepted this quantum. So I think it's a good thing for the newer developments that are smaller in size but more effective in space.
And next, we compare a 3 bed, 3 bar plus guest versus a 3 bed, 3 bar plus study in One North residence. You can see the quantum itself, 2.3 million versus 3.12 million. Once again, the gap is about 800K, decent when compared to a
For 20
20-year-old
years,
property. Okay, one thing to note is same thing. All the bedroom actually have bay window.
And they have a slight angle.
Yes, has slight angle. And the only difference is this 3 bedroom within the One North residence actually all faces towards one side. It could be the pool facing or inner facing unit with a study facing the other side. But meanwhile, this layout for LyndenWoods a little more non-conventional, where you have one of the bigger bedrooms actually facing towards the interior.
Yep.
All right.
So for 4 bed, 4 bath at One North Residence, you'll see that the size is slightly bigger at 1,593. Quantum-wise is about 2.5 million. So a bit more efficient because there's no slanted walls for the bedrooms in here.
And compared to the quantum or LyndenWoods 4.1 million, if you were to launch at that price, or 3.94, to get once again 1.5 million, it gets a little, pricey if you compare it this way.
Yep. Okay, so we've seen the resale developments in here. There are also quite a few new launches that actually launched in this area. And then we'll take a look at how LyndenWoods will compare to these developments also.
Yep.
Okay, so the surrounding ones for this area would be the Hill at One North, smaller development, Bloomsbury that recently launched, as well as Blossoms by the Park that launched in 2023.
Yes. So when compared to the prices, you can see the gap is pretty similar. I would say about 2,004 to 2,500 per square feet. Take note, for here One North and Blossoms by the Park, it's actually pre-area harmonization.
Yep.
Means they include aircon latch as well PSF, but Bloomsbury is actually post. Means it doesn't include. So for the PSF for Bloomsbury, you have to net off about 7% to get the actual valuation. So at 2.7, 2.6, you're actually setting a new benchmark in the entire asset over here.
Yep.
And that's something you factor in given that it's brand new and it's near the MRT.
Okay, so let's take a look at Blossoms by the Park that launched in 2023. How Blossoms by the Park actually launched their pricing as compared to RCR. RCR back then, their per square feet was about 2,485. So Blossoms by the Park launched about 2,004. In fact, some of our clients got it at under 2,003. So they actually launched at a pretty fair pricing because some of the units are also facing the road. And they are next to the MRT lah. In terms of quantum, I think they built quite effective quantum such that they are not too big. Their RCR at that time, 3-bedder was about close to 2.7 million quantum. Blossoms by the Park, their 3-bedders at that time, average was about 2.4. So I thought it was quite fair.
Yes. And when compared to today, where we are standing for Blossoms by the Park, mainly are the 4-bedders, okay, that's being sold about close to 3.5 to 3.6 million, the high floor listings, along with the dual key layout 915. Last year, it's already fully sold about 2.436 million. Okay, so you compare layout to layout, later we'll see there is no compact 3-bedder at your Blossoms by the Park. It's only dual key units that's available. So if you look, okay, at a 2-bedder, okay, 2-bedder plus study, okay, Blossoms by the Park, last transacted is 2023, so we don't have the latest price. Likely they want to sell about 1.9 to about 1.85 at least. So this is the pricing that we're looking at. 1.6 was almost 2 to 3 years ago kind of prices. Compared to today, about 2.252. This really will set the benchmark for Blossoms by the Park to exit, which is good news for Blossoms by the Park.
For Blossoms by the Park, you'll notice that their 3-bedder floor plate is slightly bigger at 1,300 square feet. That's why their quantum is on the higher end, close to 3.2. So because Blossoms by the Park don't have a 3-bed plus guest room, so we use a 4-bedder to compare with LyndenWoods 3-bed, 3-bath plus guest, right? Blossoms by the Park 4-bedder was about 1,300 square feet. So people may say with such a similar quantum, should I just go for a full 4-bedder rather than a 3-bed plus a smaller guest bedroom?
Yes, so that actually, if Lyndenwood were to launch at this pricing, likelihood Blossoms by the Park will start to move, especially for the 4-bedroom units.
Yeah.
All right. So last one list, compare 4-bed to 4-bed. Okay, the bigger 4-bedroom premium for LyndenWoods, 4.16 million, once again, will suddenly make Blossoms by the Park very attractive. And that's when it does actually give a new price matrix within the Kent Ridge area. Okay,
so next example I'll look at is Bloomsbury Residences, which is the most recent launches at Media Circle.
Yes.
It's close by, but this is definitely not near the MRT. I think if you walk to One North, it will take how long?
12 minutes.
Yeah, because I think Chris timed himself and tried it, right?
Yep.
So this one is the first development in Media Circle. And if you were to compare Bloomsbury with RCR, because it's a RCR development, RCR at this point today, new launches are about 2006 to 2007. Bloomsbury, they launched during the tariff season, so maybe developers are also being a little bit wary. Their per square feet is about 2.4 plus.
Yes.
Quantum-wise, 3-bedders in RCR is close to about 2.7, and Bloomsbury 3-bedder is ranging about 2.3 there, 2.3 to 2.4.
Yes, indeed. And there's a per square feet Bloomsbury recently launched. You can see it's about 2.4 to about 2.5 per square feet. Okay, quantum is about 1.6 to 1.74, even for the full plus study. Some even started from 1.5 plus million for the 2-bed, 2-bath.
Yep.
So let's take a look at the layout comparison. Okay, for now we only have the 2 billion plus study layout for LyndenWoods. So you can see 2.2 million compared to 1.7 million. That's almost a 500k difference. Naturally, once this is launched, you can see Bloomsbury will start to move because of the price gap, even though location is a little further and deeper in. Right, and if you look at the 3-bedroom plus guest compared to the 3-bedroom plus flexi over here, very pretty similar layout. You can see the gap itself is also about close to 300 plus K. For the MRT, maybe people may consider something nearer.
And because you may have the school also.
Yes, indeed. All right. And in terms of 4-bed, 4-bath, 1,600 square feet versus Bloomsbury, 1,400 square feet, you can see the gap is pretty similar for the premium layout for the 4-bedroom. That's why for Bloomsbury, people may not want to consider something about 3.8 million. It's going to be getting something that is closer to MRT, even at places like Blossoms by the Park or even Lindenwood at a slightly higher premium or slightly lower than this price that is launched at Bloomsbury.
Yep. Okay, so the next one we'll look at is the Hill at One North. This one actually launched some time ago, but I think recently they're giving some discounts for the unit at the Hill at One North, so we'll see how it compares in terms of pricing. So Hill at One North is on a slightly smaller size in terms of development. So usually for small developments, they have to be a bit cheaper than the average pricing.
Yes.
So back then in 2024, when RCR was about 2,586, the Hill was also at a similar average. That's why they didn't really move, because people say, okay, with the same per square feet, why don't I go for something bigger? And at that time, there are a lot of options, right?
Yes.
In terms of quantum-wise, they weren't much cheaper. So RCR was about 2.7 and they were about 2.6. So people, the units didn't move as fast because it wasn't as attractive due to the pricing itself.
Right. And in terms of transaction recently, there is a discount that actually happened. But before then, it wasn't moving pretty slowly. Like taking rate on launch day was actually less than about 20%. And in fact, right now, after the discount, it went down to, I would say, more towards the valuation of 2004. That's when you start to move, with the 2-beders going at about 1.8 plus million, down from the 2 million range, and a 3-bedder down from 2.6 plus to about 2.4 million range.
Yeah. Okay, so you compare the layout-wise, their 2-bed plus study, it's about 786 square feet. Quite a similar layout, I would say, because the study is sizable. So there are some layouts where the study is not sizable. It's just a little note. You can't really do much with it, right?
Yep.
For the Hill at One North, it's about 2 million. And LyndenWoods, if let's say it's at 2,650, it's going to be close to about 2.252 million.
Yes.
Okay, so moving on to the 3-bedder plus study at the Hill at One North, you're going to compare this with LyndenWoods 3 plus gas. Hill at One North 1098 is about 2.7 million. LyndenWoods is going to be at 3.12 million. So yes, LyndenWoods is going to be slightly bigger, but both of them are next to the MRT. So then people will use this two as a comparison.
Yeah, in fact, layout-wise, potentially, Hill at One North maybe slightly better, but the study actually become like a functional bedroom. As compared to the study over here, which is actually smaller.
Small guest room. Yeah.
And last but not least is a 4-bedroom to 4-bedroom comparison. You can see a $1 million range. I would say it's actually a pretty huge gap. Okay, so really people buying this really is own stay, and just want to get a big bedroom to stay for long term. Okay, and one thing to note is One North maybe a small development, but this price at $1 million honestly is on the wider side. Right.
So then with that, we've come to the end of the comparison. It then boils down to whether this is something that you should buy, wait, or avoid.
Yes, so let's do a poll. Okay, as usual, we want to see if a PSF maybe is about 2,650 to 2,700 per square feet.
Yeah.
Okay, is this a buy, wait, or avoid? Right? So let's do this. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Wait. Okay, why wait?
I think wait because at this point we don't have all the layouts yet. So if they do come up with like the other layouts that is like effective in space and the quantum is good, I think this area has always been a lack of supply. And the developments that's around this area, they have shown that, they didn't do as well because of the quantum. Because they are very big in science, right? But they actually set a benchmark in terms of quantum, meaning like, hey, 20-year-old, 15-year-old development can hit this quantum. It makes my entry as something brand new at a similar quantum at a much safer entry.
Correct. So similarly, the layout we are both voting for is actually 2-bed, 2-bath and a 3-bed, 2-bath kind of layout. If they really do it properly and they are very efficient in kind of layout, and they play a right quantum play in the way we want to anchor as compared to surrounding resale and surrounding new launches, I would say some units may be able to consider, but not all, because I believe the average prices would be pretty high in general.
Yeah, because if the layout comes out to be like very big and the quantum becomes very high, then I feel like it may be a bit hard to exit, knowing that, surrounding you have other developments with similar characteristics.
Alright, so with this, we come to the end of this video. I hope that you enjoy the entire analysis, comparing layout and layout. If you want a detailed analysis, do feel free to reach out to us and the QR code right below. And we're more than happy to validate to you in our investment team. And also, we come with a 2025 and 2026 new launch versus resale guide. We compile the entire list to see what is upcoming land bids, what are upcoming launches, and from there, do a proper analysis. So if you'd like to find out more, do scan the QR code right below, and we're more than happy to send it over to you.
Yeah, so with that, we come to the end of this video. We'll see you next time. This is Grace.
This is Christian.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.